Reddit, what secret are you taking to the grave? NSFW. My parents took me to get my hearing checked when I was 12 because I wasn't responding when they called my name. I pretended not to hear some of the beeps in the hearing aid test room. As a result, I wore a hearing aid for 2 years when I was 12-14 years old. I don't know why I did that. My freshman year of college, I was really hungover one morning and I was back at my parents' house for the rest of the weekend. I was wearing loose-fitting athletic shorts with no underwear and kind of rocking back and forth in front of the TV to feel that satisfying slap. Any dude knows what I'm talking about. Well, I went to fart, but instead a stream of diarrhea squirted out just at the right moment and completely missed my shorts but got all over the carpet. I went to the bathroom to grab some TP. And by the time I got back to the living room, my dad was on his hands and knees cleaning it up and yelling at my dog. I've never had the heart to tell him it was my accident. TL. Doctor, I shat the carpet but let my dog take the blame while my dad cleaned it up. I worked for a shipping company at a customer desk. A guy I had known came in to ship a package. He was a known drug dealer in my town. He didn't recognize me. The package was wrapped in duct tape. I took the package, brought it out back and made it disappear into my backpack. After my shift, I opened the package and found $37.890 in cash. I never went back to the job and never heard anything about it. I left Texas a month later with cash in hand. Power play. Also, that dude probably got murdered. My dad cheated on my mum with her sister when I was born. My aunt moved in to help my mother with the newborn me. My mother told me while she was drunk at a dinner party. And started it all off with, I know I sometimes sound like I hate you. But there's a reason. So, even though I love both of my parents, I secretly think they're both pretty awful excuses for human beings. My dad for obvious reasons. My mother for holding it all against me. Edit. I'm so sorry for the earlier ambiguity. My mother was the one who told me. I have never been allowed to meet my auntie. But never really knew why until my mother spilled the beans. Until then, I had been offered the excuse that it was because my mother didn't like my auntie's husband. Turns out my dad is the dickhead. In GR 10, my dad made a deal with me. If I got an average of 88%, he'd buy me a new laptop. Well, the marks came in and I only got something like an 84-85% average. Well, I want my laptop. So I went online to the regional school board's website and downloaded a PDF template of the report card. I don't know why they would have this available. Used a PDF editor to fill in the blanks and voila. Got a brand new laptop. No regrets. P.S. After I did this, I started selling customized fake report cards for $50 each. I was giving my cat a belly rub and it jizzed all over my hand. I was molested and arped by a teenager multiple times when I was 6 years old. The last day it happened, my mom walked in on the act. She was furious. She yelled. She grabbed a gun. She dragged the guy out while he pleaded for his life. She put him in her car and drove away. I never saw him again. He was my grandma's neighbor. There was no police report. There was no trial. I asked her where he was and she told me that she took him far away and he wouldn't come back. I didn't think anything of it then. I hardly knew what had been happening and I eventually blocked it from my mind. I have flashes of it from time to time. Sometimes I wonder what she really did. Well, I certainly hope that my grandma takes the fact that she just caught me masturbating while we are on a giant family vacation to the grave with her. I've never felt so embarrassed. Edit. Wow, that misplaced modifier. Still not changing it. It looks better that way. I once took a week-long trip to London. My mother asked me to get her a small rock from there, because neither of us have ever been out of the country. So, I spend the whole trip looking for this rock. And finally find the perfect one. Fantastic. She'll love it when I get back. So I get home. I'm taking inventory of all of my souvenirs. And the rock is gone. I immediately think back to where I last saw it. It was on the bedside table in the hotel in London. Dot. So I quickly run outside and find a decent rock. I clean it off. We live in Georgia. Freaking red clay is noticeable AF, and wrap it nicely. I eventually gave it to her with the story I got it from a castle. It'd break her heart to know that I got it from our backyard. I threw rocks at the school with one of my best mates and some other student tattled on us. Basically we both got the paddle. Basically they smack your bum, and they sent a letter home to my dad. My dad received the letter and I lied to him and said I never threw the rocks. My dad, bless his heart, believed me and took it to our school principal and convinced him that I wouldn't lie about such things. Since the principal wanted to rectify it for my dad's sake, he offered me a free voucher for an ice cream as an apology. It's 15 years down the track now, and I still feel really bad for it. I feel like if I told my dad now it would break his heart. Throwing rocks at school. That's a paddling. All my friends think they watched me lose my virginity on my front lawn one fateful summer night when I was 13. We were actually just pretending to have sex in order to with my friends. We were both too scared to actually do it. I've never corrected them. I was in kindergarten. Probably 5 years old. And during sleeping time I asked a girl to show me her penis. I had, at the time, the freakiest buck wild sex of my life. With my best friend roommate's sister. In the middle of it, we heard someone come in. Thought it was the other roommate. Nope. It was him. Proceeded to have quieter sex. Thinking he would leave eventually. Nope. Marathon gaming session in the living room. Had to pull out my car behind the place in the alley. Climb on my car and help her down from the second story window. When I went back home, he asked me if his sister had come by because she left her keys in the kitchen. I said I didn't know. He thinks the other roommate banged her. Because, well, he looks like a dude that's dude's sisters. I once put a bottle in my butt to poop into it. My dad's a National Socialist and he regularly goes to meetings. I was raised on Germanic folklore and the idea that I'm superior to others because I'm of German descent. I have plenty of Jewish and slavish friends and I just tell them my dad died when I was younger TL. Dr. My dad's a Nazi. Edit. Whoa. Gold because my dad's a Nazi? That sounds like a sitcom with really poor taste. My dad's a Nazi. When I was 13 I was told that my great-grandparents were going to move to Texas and start their journey to heaven. I was crushed. I would spend every day with them up until they moved in May of 2009. Before they moved, I took a shoebox and decorated it with a picture of them and angel wings. I took my Gigi's favorite shirt, my Pop-Ups favorite button-up, printed their favorite things, and stashed them away in the box. They would search for the shirt and assume they packed it away. 1 month later my Pop-Up passed away. Then my Gigi passed a week after him. I was crushed. I never told anyone but my current boyfriend about the box and most likely never will because I'm selfish. I've only opened it up 3 times in the past 6 years. I swear the shirts still smell like them. My sister and I were on holiday together recently and very drunk one night when we got back from the bar. Naturally we started drinking more because we were on holiday. She has the ice cube tray in her hand. Opens the window simultaneously and loses her focus and drops the tray 5 floors to the street, hitting a big guy square in the dome. He looks up and started screaming and shouting in Italian. I live in Rome so I understood he was calling us some bad names. We just closed the window and continued drinking while we could hear this man shouting he was going to come up there and rip our heads off. Please never find me MR scary Italian man. Thought this was going somewhere else. Solid save there dude. One night I woke up with my mind in a twist. My mom was in the hospital at the time. I had a crazy urge to call them and check on her. But I reasoned not to because I couldn't think of an excuse so I fell back to sleep. 5 AM I get a call that they checked on her and she didn't have a pulse. I just think there was something I could have done that destroys me to even think about it. I walked in on my then 15-year-old male cousin sexually violating my grandparents' female dog. It was mortifying and I'll never forget what I saw. I was only 8 or so at the time and I didn't really know what to do. Time passed and by the time I had figured out what to do, I don't think anyone would have taken my word over his. Edit. At 5. The husband of my mom's cousin uphead me. I remember that night my mom bathing his daughter and I together. I was too afraid to sit in the water because it hurt so bad, to which the daughter told me, don't worry, it'll stop hurting once you get in. I didn't tell anyone because I didn't want to break that family apart since it was so already fragile. 4th grade me after sex said. It's probably too late now, but I wish I'd said something because looking back, his kids were really ed up. It's not too late. Seriously. Tell your mom what happened. Get in contact through Facebook or something with his daughter. Think about this. He could have grandchildren he has access to. He could be doing this to more kids. All the R34 I've drawn over the years. Edit. Of course this would be my top comment. Damn it guys. Also sorry. I don't want to connect my artistic side to this username. As in the R34 Skyline car. Or are you talking about Rule 34? In 5th grade I cheated on an exam. My buddy and I were the only 2 people in the grade who got this particular question correct. But I copied him. The worst part was he was considered dumb while I was at the top of the class. So the teacher was convinced that he copied me and he ended up getting suspended. Long story short, I was too PSSY to admit that I was the one who cheated, as my parents would have murdered me if I failed the test, and even worse if I got suspended. Yeah, no. That's the ed up part. The teachers have no evidence of him cheating, as there isn't any. They just base it off of like this and that's ed up. My mother killed my father when I was 8 years old. With a shotgun blast to the face. He bled out through what was left of his head into my lap. Blood has a smell. A stink. When there's enough of it around. She got off. Because it was a self-defense situation. She sent me to school the next day. And ever since I've pretended that I'm a well-adjusted, stable person. I'm not. Go to a doctor. I went to counseling for abuse after my parents divorced. And I was never abused, so they put me in the regular room with all the people there who were waiting for their siblings. I claimed my father abused me so I could go to the special room with all the abused kids. It was horrible. I had no right being in that room with all those people. They all were really messed up from what their parents had done to them. And I just got in so I could play Yu-Gi-Oh! Edit. I was probably 7 or 8. And for what I know, my father did not get in trouble. I see him every week. I didn't know what I was doing back then. This sounds like something Cartman would do. When we were kids, a female cousin and I played doctor around the age of 6 or 7. Talked about it a few years ago around the age of 25. Became deeply intimate and have had really incredible sex several times over the last few years. She recently got married and we have since ended our relationship. We are both normal, successful, contributing citizens. You'd never know. Hopefully no one finds out. But I miss her and our level of intimacy. Yo, but how was there knowing Mick on Reddit already? Me and my wife were going through tough times. I just got back from Afghanistan. I played Russian roulette with my 357 Magnum. 3 loaded. I lost. Getting a divorce now and alive. You know you were serious about Russian roulette, or clinically depressed. Which happens to the best of us, when our lost refers to not getting a bullet in the face. Hey man. I'm glad you're still alive. I just want you to know that your brothers don't want you to kill yourself. They'll always be there for you. Anybody in uniform will always be there for you. It sucks coming back to a world of after you just left a world of. But please don't play again. Get the divorce. And don't be ashamed to ask for help. We are here for you. Broke into a church, door to the children's daycare thing was open, then took a tiny kid's chair. Was the kid still sitting on it? The first person I ever fapped to was Wanda from the Fairly Odd Parents. For me it was a girl who answered a door when I was collecting for the newspaper route I had. I still remember that ass from 17 years ago. When I was 16 I was in a relationship with a man older than my father. I'm getting married soon. And he still mopes around and says how much he loves me and will never find someone like me. It's annoying. But also makes me feel guilty as hell. Let's see. When I was 14 I had this girl, 16, who lived next door to me go down on me while we typed out the whole thing to this guy, 17, over AIM. Could never look him in the eye again. Still don't know if he ever told anyone. I have never ever told a soul. Edit. You all keep telling me he told everyone. If he did, everyone did a damn good job of keeping that a secret from me. This was 2007? I think, or 2008. Aid note. I'm a straightish girl for those men asking, also really didn't expect this to be read. He told everyone. This is something that I have told people in the past, but have learned not to tell due to the insane amount of well-intentioned teasing I get because of it. I found out I was gay because while in Catholic school I did a Google search of Jesus and found a nude statue of Jesus. I felt weird, ashamed, and had the unusual urge to continue the search by searching penis. Penis led to more graphic things. More graphic things led to me questioning my sexuality. Questioning my sexuality led to me realizing that I'm gay. I'm gay because of Jesus, everybody. That when my ex called me to look at something weird in the toilet, it was actually a really early miscarriage and not just really weird period stuff, because it would have mentally broken a girl that was already unstable. But I'm dying inside. I lost my virginity to a prostitute. I was in a circle jerk with two of my closest friends in middle school. I don't regret it. But I won't tell anybody. Me and my girlfriend were playing Monopoly and she was so concentrated on the game, on the dice, on her properties. She was just so engrossed in the board that I was constantly taking money out of the bank and keeping it. I feel terrible about it because she was just so adorable trying to play the game and concentrate on trying to win. I absolutely annihilated her because I had so much money. She wasn't a sore loser about it. When we were done playing and it was obvious I had won, she just kind of sighed and we watched a movie. The whole time I couldn't stop thinking about how absolutely adorable she looked while trying to concentrate and play. The way she looked at the money she had. And the properties she bought. Like she was so proud of them. And I took advantage of that and stole money to win. I learned that from now on winning doesn't matter. I need to focus on having fun with her. Removed. It's nothing big. It's actually something really small and innocent, and I've just decided to tell no one. IRL. When I was 5 years old, a friend at primary school, whose name is Jay, told me he liked a girl called Day and asked me never to tell anyone. I never have and I never will. Almost 30 years and I haven't told anyone. Over the years I've thought about saying something to someone about it, but I've never been able to bring myself to do it. Just something about the innocence of that promise, I guess. He wouldn't even care now. But 5-year-old Jay would, and I don't want to break my promise to him. Edit. NZers don't do too well with compliments. But for what it's worth. Thank you. This will get buried. But here goes. When I was little, my grandfather molested me. It started when I was about 5, at least from what I can remember, and went on until I was 8. The last time it happened, my aunt came in the room. I don't remember what she said, but she grabbed my hand and pulled me out of the room. She asked me what was going on and if it happened before. I told her no, because he always told me I would get in trouble if I told anyone. I was never alone in the same room with him again. But no one ever talked about it after that, and I'm too scared to bring it up. I'm 25 now. He died 3 years later. At his funeral, open casket, I spit on his face when no one was looking. My mom made me leave the room because I couldn't stop smiling during the service. When I was 7 or 8 I wondered what would happen if I whipped my dick around while peeing. So I went into my parents' bathroom and waved it everywhere and was all over the walls and ceiling. A friend had an abortion before her marriage. Her husband doesn't know. It was his kid. She swore me to secrecy. I will never tell. I will never tell. He said. 3 people can only keep a secret if one of them is dead. Wait a minute. Bacon is always the first food to be cooked by my father in the mornings. As a child, I would steal myself an extra piece and blame it on my little brother. Hence, I'd get a total of 3 pieces. And Browski would only get 1. Looking back, the oldest kid gets away with so much. A friend of mine confessed that a few years before I met her she got pregnant by a man who didn't want to have anything to do with the baby or her. She could not afford to raise the baby herself, so she continued with the pregnancy but did not tell anyone at work because she feared that she would be judged for it. She scheduled a C-section for Friday afternoon, took a half day off work, and was back on Monday. The baby was adopted by 2 of her friends. No one at work ever knew what she did. She said she was able to cover up her pregnancy by wearing extremely baggy clothes. Edit. To answer some questions, I had to Google the Peggy reference. I didn't think she stole the idea from Mad Men, but who knows. Yes, she's a bigger chick so easier to hide weight gain. Agree the C-section detail sounds sketchy. This was a story that was told to me, not one that I could personally verify. Didn't think it'd be possible to hide a pregnancy. Well, I'm a little late to the party, but here it goes anyways. When I was a kid I always hated getting physicals for sports. One time I was extremely uncomfortable as I had hit a pubescent age and had become more aware of my body. You could say. Well, I'm circumcised and I thought the scar I had was from fapping too much and the doctor would know. My remedy? Put Neosporin on it every night. When this didn't work I became very distressed. We had very slow internet back in the day, so it took like half an hour to see one picture of a naked girl, so I didn't watch movies. I had to Google dicks to see if other people had the scar as well. Seeing dicks never made me so relieved. TLDR. I lost my virginity to our Italian foreign exchange student living with us for the past 6 months. She's since gone home. No regrets, though. I'm a Mormon that likes the taste of coffee. I've also drunk beer before. Yesterday I thought I had problems. Today my life is grand. UC Rafsman 1459 said it best 3 years ago. Where I want to be buried. When I was younger I worked landscaping. We were doing flowers at a client's house and I needed to take her something fierce. Like immediately. I'm looking at this flower pot and I'm thinking, let's do this. I go around the side of the house. Look around and it seems the coast is clear. I take a giant steamer for 5 minutes squatting like a Neanderthal over this flower pot and question my life. When I'm done I'm wondering what to do. So I dig a hole in the yard and bury the flower pot. Thinking I'm done with the setup moment in my life. I turn around and look up and see the clients. Husband and wife and their dog standing in the balcony. Mouths wide open staring at me. I start sweating and shaking and mutter something like, "Nice day." Full stop. I leave without telling my boss. Never go back to the job. It still keeps me up at night. Redacted. Spoiler. OMG. That is crazy. Last week I had my best female friend. She celebrated her 5-year anniversary with her boyfriend days before. Pretty much all my friends would hate me if they found out. I don't really feel guilty, which is weird. I had sex with the dog. I ate my first cousin's PSSY several times when I was 14 but turned out gay. The secret formula for the Krabby Patty. Ravioli give me the formula. Growing up, until like age 12, I used to put on lipstick and dress as a girl, but have always identified as male and very much enjoy women. Funnily enough, my fiancée and I are a match made in heaven. I'm a guy that's kinda feminine, and she is a woman that's kinda masculine. I grew up with my mom and sister, while she grew up with 3 brothers and military men. It's weird to explain, but pretty much every gap in her femininity I fill, and every gap in my masculinity she fills. As far as gender roles are concerned in our relationship,